Good morning. So we're back in Limerick, and we have been very fortunately welcomed this morning by Chloe, who's joined us, and she's going to give us her thoughts on her own share on what she's doing at the moment and her awareness of what she's actually experienced around different challenges and her view on positivity. So Chloe, if you were to give us an introduction on your own situation, your story, your background, and maybe what you're involved in so far.
So I'm Chloe Walsh, I'm 22. I have grown up here in Limerick all my life. I was on a teaching route with Mary I. I finished my degree and everything, but it really wasn't for me. Parents aren't too happy about that, but it's okay. But I have gone into UL now and I am doing my master's in business and marketing. I'm loving it, really am loving it, because I suppose I've always kind of had an interest in that marketing side of things. And like really do. So so I part-time model as well, and I started doing Instagram like 3 or 4 years ago when I really got into it. It opens a lot of opportunities for you, but I suppose there's two kind of, as we were saying, like there's kind of two worlds to it. Like it can be such a positive place and open up new opportunities and everything, but I suppose there is that kind of like negative side things, you know. Like
and there was even where just a bit of background on this, I was in the crowd when I first saw Chloe a few weeks ago as she spills her coffee. It's all good. Everyone makes mistakes. Look, we're not going to knock anyone for that. What I'm saying is, it's okay to be good. It's okay to have positive or negative days.
Yeah.
On the back of those things, she spoke very fluently on the day about her experience so far, about her challenges, where she's overcome everything. Really, as you're saying, it's all around the different sides of that social world, the social mind, if you will, in your own head can be so positive and negative.
Yeah.
And as I said, it can literally open doors to where we are today.
Yeah.
Fortunate that we have the introduction,
Yeah.
gladly, whoever created social media back in the day.
Yeah.
But at the back of it, it can have such devastation. Like, you can literally go from that pinhole effect. I remember even hearing something recently where, say for example, if a relationship broke down and you saw that message pop up on the phone, you'd just be like a radar to dig, and you go straight to that pivot and you keep digging, which is only more detrimental to your own situation to understand what actually might have happened.
Exactly.
So it's a huge challenge. So it's a case of, as you say, it's the whole growth phase, naturally, as you're out in the...
I think it can affect the younger people. It is about
world,
the growth.
yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's where a piece I find is, it can be so positive, but maybe as you say, go back to your own starting point, maybe 4 years ago. Currently at the same point now for me, I'm trying to use social media to act as a springboard, if you will, to launch your career.
Yeah.
So what did you do maybe at that point, and maybe give us some of the highlights, maybe on some of the key learnings, maybe on both sides, positively rather, and negatively. Where did you go? How did that story?
To where I am now,
Yeah.
I suppose I didn't really start off kind of being right, this is
Yeah.
it just kind of, I started posting loads and stuff like that, and it kind of jumped from there. But I don't know, it's it has obviously been a huge impact on my life, especially being involved in social mind and stuff. That's how Aoife had found me through. But I think it's, in my opinion, I think it's more 60-40 and more 60 kind of negative for me, personally, because especially for younger people, I never grew into social media. I had that kind of going outside with my friends. I think I only started when I was 16, 17, whereas younger kids now, they're on every social platform at 11, 12, and I think it can be a really kind of scary place.
And even to go on that point, we were with a conversation on Tuesday out in the Red Crisis Centre, and Miriam shared with us that she had seen or heard of that pornography has gone down to the ages of 5. No joke, as in she has people coming in saying that there's children in around the 5 to 7 year age bracket with pornography on their radar, and you're where does that even begin to go wrong? And that is huge devastation on its own right, and they're doing a fantastic job out there, to be fair to Miriam and everyone. But even with the examples of social media, as you said, people are just glued to their phones.
That's the thing, and I had said that at Social Mind. I kind of feel as though And I'm so guilty of it as well. But like, if my family are having a conversation with me, I'll just completely
I
zone
remember you
out.
saying that you were talking
And
about
I'm
with your
just
parents.
like, I will regret this in a couple of years' time when they're not with me anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know, in that kind of way, it's kind of like I'd be on my phone and my mom or my dad would be talking to me, and I just completely, like, I'd be like, 1 second, a long day, like, I'm going on my phone, and like, I feel like I see it when I go to my friend's house, and they'd be doing the exact same thing, and it's like a never-ending cycle, and how you forget about the people that are, like, it's like they're the most important people in our lives, and at the end of the day, we will regret that time that we did not spend with them. Like, it's like my grandparents now, I had said it in social media, like, there is no way I would go on my phone, like, when they're around, or else I'd be annoying them taking like photos or videos of the two of them, but like, it's just that I've tried, and this year especially, I'm trying to instill in my mind that we have such a limited time on this world.
And even to go one more on that, right? Conor O'Keefe yesterday, shout out to the man, actually is 11 months sober, right?
Yeah.
He went and met his new nephew yesterday for the first time. On the back of that, he literally went over there and went from the spectrum of life, he called it, from one end to the other. He met his newborn nephew and brought the photos over to his grandmother from one hospital to the next. And he was literally booming on it. You could see him after he came out. It was a case of, like you said, like, yes, there's huge advances in social media, but at the same time, like, say his grandmother wouldn't have had the opportunity possibly yesterday to meet that newborn. It's a case of he actually took time just to go over and spend the time with her, as you said, with your parents, your family, and even I remember even Shane Carty on the night as well talking about he was in such a dark place. For those of you who don't know the story, Shane actually was suicidal after lifting the All-Ireland, and literally when he heard the news of his grandparents dying, his parents actually didn't realise that he was suicidal. And he was like, oh, it's okay. Just cold.
That's the scary thing about it, is that he went through all this positivity in his life and he still was going through a dark place in himself. And people didn't see that. And I have experienced that where friends of friends, luckily enough I've never experienced somebody very close to me, but friends of friends, they would have had a friend that basically was the light of their life, was so positive, and one day they just got that call. And that's what's scary about it, is that it's those people that you never would expect because they're always so happy. And I think I've actually noticed that is that they're nearly trying to force this happiness so that they don't show people what they're actually going through inside.
And even just to show you a bit more depth, like the conversation we just had before we met you this afternoon was all three of us, and I hope they don't mind me bringing this up to light, that are actually here today with you, have gone through really, really dark times. And like, it's a case of, I think the dark times for people actually are a growth phase. I remember hearing this story recently from a friend Linus in Dublin back in January, where he said it's like going through a death, like the death of your inside, like you're actually going through the old phases dying away. Gladly, very fortunately, none of us have, as you said, taken the last step, as you said.
Yeah.
You hear those detrimental stories, but like, to use those experiences, as you said, as a positive light, that's exactly why we're here today. Like, use that lighthouse situation as if you will, to say like that we are here, but at the same time, like, lighthouses, if you use them as a symbol, like we're here today in a gallery, there is bad weather, like, there is always things that come and hit you that you're unexpected, like, to be aware of, or whatever challenges come in to hit you. But at the same time, as you said, you need to be able to cope. Like, the coping skills and awareness in Ireland is just shocking. Like, it is absolutely shocking. And as
because
you said,
something that might seem like the end of the world today will be nothing to you in a week's time.
Absolutely.
That's what we forget, is that we get so in our heads and we overthink the worst of situations.
It's unbelievable.
And they might not even happen. But because we made it up in our heads, it's already happened.
Correct.
So we're already going through this grief process that might not even happen.
And there's a brilliant analogy on how to describe this on a whiteboard, in a sense. If you're to draw a body, so like you have the head, and then you have the body, and then you have the limbs, I would say, like your thoughts, beliefs, and your actions are all where you form the paradigm.
Yeah.
So how that all goes into your subconscious mind is like, you know, the external influences are going to be positive here in the gallery or whatever. But like, even as you said, from when we're young, and I think like this is an interesting point I'd like to explore a bit more with you. Like, you're very young, like you're only a very early adapter in your career, you know, you're really hitting the ground running, and it's very great to see all that, and we wish you the best. But like, maybe for people that are call it in college, you know, maybe the 18 to 23 bracket or 18 to 22, even before that, like for you, like I have younger sisters, like what's it like growing up, even just as a girl in Limerick through that period, and like how difficult can it be? I'm only going from a very high level assumption here, which is wrong of me, but in society this is the problem, that maybe, as you said, in some of your modelling pieces, people might, I imagine, come across quite negative. And one thing I remember from Social Mind, it may have been you or someone, that it was where they said that one negative comment can literally sit with you, and all
I
positive. I think that was
it was just that, like, you on social media or even in person, you could get hundreds of positive comments, like from your family and your friends, and you would get one negative comment and you would focus.
And that even sat with me on the right.
Yeah, but that's the thing, and I don't know. I do it all the time,
yeah.
but I don't know why we focus so in this one negative comment when we have gotten so much love and positivity. Like, it's mad, it really is. And what I had said was as well, that with whoever has made this negative comment, in my opinion, we are never to treat it back with negativity.
Yeah.
Because I have always said that whoever has said that negative comment is going through their own hardships.
Correct.
I would never, ever be like, oh, how dare you, or take that whole, like, aggressive approach, because they are going through their own bad times. Like, why would we?
I have to put my hand up here and say, like, I'm wrong at times for taking the aggressive approach, but there's times like that where
it can get to you.
It can get to you, but like at the same time, even one of the jobs that I have to do today actually is, I was in Hiroshima recently and we're over at the World Cup. Very grateful for the opportunity, but I bought little cards which say World Peace. So anytime I'm wrong, I literally give myself a yellow card, if you say, and write the sorry note. And like, it's the whole thing with the leading parts of this. Like, I left a card in your bag before I even met you. Gratitude.
Yeah, that was so nice. I was like, where did that card come from?
But like, it's a case of, with that, then you go to empathy. So empathy, as you said, you're nearly understanding the other person's situation, and then on top of that, as you said, you're working with the forgiveness piece.
Yeah.
So you're literally going, right, I know what it is to wear those shoes, and I forgive you for it. And I found when you put those three together, nobody can literally come near you, because, not in a bad way, but yes, you get challenged, but like, that was Mandela's way. He led, and to come out of 24 years rather of isolation and still be able to lead a country to the World Cup and win, like, it's absolutely phenomenal. So like, just to close this very inspirational piece from you, and very grateful for you sharing all your thoughts, like, what would your advice be for a young girl starting out, be it in Limerick or anywhere, to use tools such as social media as a support tool and take advantage of it, but also be aware of the negative? Like, what would your experience to someone that's starting out be? We were like, for a younger girl, like I was just saying there, that it really is a growth process. So it's very difficult to kind of say, oh, with 13, 14 to have a confidence, to have it is a process, and you will come across this negativity, but it's just so important that if you are going through something, or you have gotten a negative comment, or you just feel low in yourself, because I do feel like a lot of the time we compare ourselves to everybody's situations, completely. And I don't know why, because we should be, like, the fact that we are breathing and have a heartbeat is what we should be grateful for. Brilliant.
Do you know? But it's just that we do compare ourselves. I do it all the time. I'm like, why can't I have her life? Why can't I have this car? Like, and just to remember that we should be just so grateful for what we have, that we should rely on our family. There's always somebody there to talk to. If we are ever going through anything, if you feel that you're at a very low point, and what you're going through now will be nothing in a week's time. It won't even matter. So just ensure that it is a growth process, and that the confidence will come, and that just to not rely on this social media world, because at the end of the day, there is a world beyond your screen. And yeah, that just to remember that not to focus so much in it. I always tell even younger friends of mine that it's not real. It's not a real world. It opens up so many doors, but just to remember that to go and actually experience the real world and to just appreciate life and those around you.
Absolutely. Okay, so to follow up on your advice, I'm actually looking at my car keys, right, which are just over there out of shot, and I carry a little box of thank you notes, right? This is something that I came across last weekend. So in my mind, it's a case of I'll write one to the library for letting us use this space. It's a case of I'm so grateful for every opportunity that I've got, right? So to just tie this up in a knot, and I suppose it's very seasonal saying that phrase, but I'm turning 30 tomorrow, and
happy
it's a
early
case
birthday.
of even yesterday, the choir actually sang me happy birthday in a school, which was completely blown away again. So again, it's just another case of blown away with all these opportunities. So it's a case of where is the future going for Chloe? So I'm trying to think, I look forward and I see my vision on opening businesses, 5 or 6 different ventures, hopefully raising a lot of money. And I use that phrase, raising a lot of money, because I want to make a lot of money to help other people.
Yeah.
Similar to the likes of very successful people in this county. What's the next 5 years, 10 years for Chloe?
That's such a scary question. I suppose.
Where do you want to go? What's the journey? What's happening now?
Considering I was on a teaching route and I completely jumped off it, I kind of built up that kind of strength in myself, and I was like, I'm not going to go with, and don't get me wrong, my parents are amazing and they've always supported me, but they just always saw me as a teacher, and I suppose it wasn't for me, and I think I was just keeping people happy.
Yeah. And
the minute I jumped off that, since then they've seen how happy it's made me with studying my business and marketing, that they have just been so supportive. So basically, I would ideally, in an ideal world, want to finish my business, and then
I'll just hold on that. When you finish your business degree, go on.
When I finish my business degree, I will be doing a digital marketing course, and I want to go down the digital marketing route.
Yeah.
I obviously love fashion and clothing and all of this, so I would love to have So I would love to have my own business.
Yes.
I've never seen myself working under someone. I'd love to make the decisions, make them right, do it for me. And then I'd love to, with that, and I'd love to make my fortune and look after my family, because I think that they have always been there to support me financially, and just the love that they give me, that I really have always said in my head that I need to pay them back for it.
This is just something I'm playing with on the spot, right? There's a thing that I'm in at the moment where it's all about writing in the present tense.
Yeah.
About writing about your goals. It's called thinking into results.
Yeah.
So it's something I could explain more at a different time, but if it was a case, I love just bringing this into context, in 5 years' time, if you've made all that, you have the business open, you are supporting your family, if you will.
No pressure.
And all this is achieved. The one question I would have to tie this down and finish this up would be, what would that feel like?
Oh, it would feel amazing. I just feel like I've always, when I left teaching, I kind of lost a bit of confidence in myself, because I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I suppose with school, I was very, I hated to study, and I always felt that I kept putting myself down, and I was like, oh, why can't I be like one or two of my friends who are just excelling so much? And in sports, I'd be like, oh, why can't I be as good? Because I played hockey and stuff like that in school, and I was never as good, so I've always put myself down.
Yeah.
So I've set this goal,
correct,
and I want to achieve it, and I want to have that moment in myself that I'm finally happy and proud of myself, because I feel like I'm consistently putting myself down. Even if I do something well, I'm like, I could have done it better.
2 cents on that, this is one of those things I was actually saying this morning, where I spun all this off and how all these fireside chats have started. Granted, it's not a fireside chat, literally, but I know I'm conscious of time and I'm in trouble for this, but the whole world like that, from what you're saying, is that I started out challenging myself earlier this year. I was suicidal, I was in St. Pat's for 3 weeks. But I started with my housemates actually giving them one-on-one therapy sessions, right, on social anxiety, all these other things that I learned. Did sports science here in Limerick and spun off that, just psychologically, I love it. So even what I'm saying there with what I'm listening is, in my head it's saying, you're nearly putting off your happiness, if I'm just to be honest. Because you're thinking, oh, all that is going to make me happy in the future. So what I would say is just bring that back to the present and think of like a Buddha and think.
No, I agree. Yeah. No, you're right.
Yes, have the journey and you have the goal set and all the rest of it, but you've got to live that journey each day. And like,
I suppose I'm so really focused on my goal of.
Yeah, but that's fine. And one part on that afterwards would be like always live the journey along the way. And I heard a great one recently where it's like you live your legacy rather than leave your legacy.
Yeah.
So that you actually are present and here for it.
Yeah.
So like say my grandparents, like my grandfather in Limerick, like he set up 2 hotels here, like the Limerick Inn way back and then the 2 Mile Inn. That's a case of like you still look at that, wow. So like it's a case of with that, what I would say is like bring it all together, live it as you're doing, like you're on a super journey. I'm not trying to be a therapist or anything. It's just from what I would add value back to for you being very kind to share your thoughts today, is that you are there, you have made it, you are happy, and the one thing I keep getting is it's in here. And to use a Limerick phrase to tie this off and finish it off, Hermitage Green have a song called Heaven, no joke, and the lyric is heaven is a place in your head.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of those things that Dara Graham and the boys will bust. But literally, we'll leave it at this. I would like to thank you so much for your time. Yeah. And unless you have any final thoughts, we'll leave you.
No, I really appreciate that. I'll definitely take that on board. I'm going to go home and listen to Hermitage Green. No, but I do agree with you that we need to kind of be happy where we are right now. Yeah. And that even though we're at our goal, we should be happy that we're on that journey.
Correct.
So I do agree. That's such a lovely way to put it. Like, no. So thank you so much.
Yeah, likewise. Listen, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.